Welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm Brian. If you're new here, you're going to love this channel. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Well, what an exciting day watching Tucker Carlson just fillet and slay all these rhinos. And I'm going to go through some of these clips of Tucker today, which was absolutely amazing. And I don't get tired of watching these. Some of these I've watched several times, and they never get old. And, you know, when I go through these clips, this is what it was like being a Republican before Trump came down the escalator. Republicans before Trump came down the escalator were all like these jerks, like Pence and Tim Scott and all the rest today. But now we got a new standard with President Trump. So before I get into that, though, I just wanted to point something out so I don't forget. Billy Baldwin revealed he went to high school with that Long Island serial killer that got busted that's all over the news today. And I'm very surprised that Billy Baldwin went out today and publicly said he went to high school with this serial killer, because you know what that means? It means that Billy Baldwin knows two killers. Of course, this Long Island serial killer and his brother. So I don't think he was thinking too clearly, Billy Baldwin. What is it about Billy Baldwin that he has all these connections to these killers? But let's get into this because, you know, Tucker Carlson, we're really getting to see why Fox News got rid of Tucker Carlson. It's because he's too good, he kicks too much ass, and he's really in these Tucker on Twitters and this thing that the Blaze put together today. What we're seeing with Tucker is Tucker Carlson unplugged. He's like a guy who's been holding back and for whatever reason all these years, and now we're finally getting to see what he really thinks, and he's getting to ask the questions he wants to ask, and he doesn't have any Fox News rhino bosses. And this is really amazing because we all know what a snake, lowlife creep Mike Pence is. But he always has on this fake image where you don't get a good read on his personality. And we got to see the real Mike Pence today. Mike Pence is in a club. It's a club with two members in it right now. Two rhino members, Mike Pence and Ron DeSantis. Both Mike Pence and Ron DeSantis are unelectable forever. And Mike Pence just blew it today. So let's get into this. This is a lot of fun.
You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years. Yeah. Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. Right. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. Right. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. Right. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
Whoa, it's not my concern. Well, thanks a lot, jerk. Because the money is in Ukraine. Oh, man, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. You know, when President Trump first picked Mike Pence, I always said, as much as I love, nobody loves Trump more than me. You know, but I never liked Pence. I used to talk about this all the time. I said, I don't like Pence. And what I used to tell people is the reason I don't like Mike Pence, this is when Trump first picked him, is because he's fake. He's a phony. You can't see what his real personality is like. And Tucker Carlson, this is the first time we got to see what Mike Pence is really like. Let me go back a little bit and we'll watch the rest of this.
Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased, and yet your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
Whoa.
Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble.
Now, can't you see? Mike Pence is pissed off. Look at him. His face is all weird. He's pissed. And this is a thing that I talk about this sometimes on the show. When you're involved in a debate, by the way, if you'd like to call in and share your thoughts on this snake and this great moment with Tucker, please do. The phone lines are open. It's the same number I use on the morning live stream, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're watching me from. 888-465-2631. But Pence here, you can see he's steaming. He's steaming.
A country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern. Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern.
See, now this is what I'm talking about. When you're angry and you're involved in a debate and you're live like this, you lose control. Anger has an effect on your mind, like in being intoxicated, and you lose control.
I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble. I think Joe Biden has weakened America at home and abroad. And as president of the United States, we're going to restore law and order in our cities. We're going to secure our border. We're going to get this economy moving again. And we're going to make sure that we have men and women on our courts at every level that will stand for the right to life and defend all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Constitution.
Now, this has nothing to do with anything that was asked. Hold on. Hey there. Hold on just 1 second, caller. Pence, what he's responding to here has nothing to do with anything that's brought up. This is just a panic mode. He's in his rote stump speech trying to get through the moment. Hey, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Lisa in Texas.
Hey,
and
Lisa.
I'm telling you, Brian. Hi, hon. I'm telling you, we were watching this earlier.
Oh, it's
and
beautiful.
then you playing it now. Oh, my gosh. This guy, he's frozen. He's not even looking at Tucker. He's just in his world thinking how to respond.
Yeah.
And he says it's not my concern. The American people are not my concern. It's the border of this country, because how much money is he getting out of this?
Well, that's exactly right. You know, when this snake, announced he was running, I told you guys this is a money grab because there's a lot of money in running for president. You know, he knows he's obviously getting some money from Ukraine somehow.
Somehow,
obviously.
Yeah.
How it is, I don't know.
Supporting them. Yeah, exactly. We don't know all the ways that these people do it, but you know they're laundering all this money every way, which way they can, and anybody who supports the war, including Nikki Haley, they're getting a payoff somehow.
Well, yeah, and I gotta tell you, I'm opposed to this war. You know, President Trump was opposed to the war in Iraq. He was even opposed to the war in Vietnam. And this is a textbook example of a big money grab that's going on. And when he said that's not my concern, he's in a rage, Mike Pence.
Oh, he's hot. And it's funny because when you watch him and you see his head going back and forth, not looking, he's listening, and his mouth is kind of crumpled and his eyes are real beady. He looks like a chimpanzee to me. I don't know, just.
Yeah, and you can see in his
chimpanzee.
You can see in his face he's thinking about this mother. That's what he's thinking. He's and his face turns red and he gets tense.
Yeah, he is livid. He is livid with anger towards Tucker because he can't respond, and he has the charisma of a limp noodle.
I'll tell you this. I'm going to make a prediction here. Pence, Pence has just been getting torn up all day long on Twitter, right? Pence, I predict this. Pence is going to go on Hannity probably next week and try to redeem himself.
I don't know how he's going to do it. It'll be a miracle, but I don't think God's going to grant him any of those. I mean, this guy is so under the covers crooked. and lying.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he was one of the people leaking stuff all the time. So
he was probably
anyway,
the big leaker. Hey, listen, thanks for the call, Lisa, out in Texas. Yeah, you're welcome to call in. 888-465-2631. You know, I always suspected that this snake was one of the big leakers from the White House during Trump's first term. And, you know, President Trump had him involved in every single meeting that there was, you know, and look at how he repaid President Trump, huh? And now karma. So we go. Here's some more.
Along the way, the Biden administration has been slow in providing military support. Make no mistake about this. We promised them 33 Abrams tanks in January.
Yeah. Hey there, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Michael in California. How are you?
Hey, Michael, what's up?
So tell me you're lying without telling me you're lying by just looking at that clip of Mike Pence.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what? You know, every time I see a politician go over to Ukraine, I always think they get their debit card out and just take out a wad of cash through the ATM.
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen Mike Pence's new house. It's huge.
Yeah, that's where they funnel all their money through is Ukraine. Why do you think they flock there all the time, all of them, including the rhinos? I'm guarantee you Ron DeSantis is going to visit Ukraine next. Watch. Just to say he's looking presidential and bolstering his foreign policy.
Well, let me tell you, this thing with Pence is one of those that's not my concern. The American people, that is one of those moments that's career-ending for a politician. Now he's been in the S House with us MAGA people, you know, for 2.5 years. But to the rhinos, the rhinos have always had him on the back pay. You know, he's done to the rhinos now. He's useless to them now. That was like devastating.
You know, I've been listening to you since 2015. I'm a huge fan of the show.
Oh,
Steve
thank
show.
Thank you.
And I'll never forget your and Kathy's reaction when President Trump brought out Kathleen Lilly, Paula Jones, and all of those girls before that first debate. That was just
best.
priceless. But anyways, you know Mike Pence day one is going to bow down to Nancy Pelosi, his best friend in Congress.
Absolutely.
And spend at least $5 billion in Ukraine.
Oh yeah,
Another $5 billion.
That's the next 20-year war. Hey man, thanks for the call.
Like why do these really quick? Why do these people waste their time when they have no snowball's chance in hell of being?
Because they're making money.
Why?
They're making money. Like okay, I'll tell you real quick. Like do you know who has run every one of Joe Biden's campaigns since he started in the Senate all the way up to now? You know who? His sister. There's a lot of money to be made. Millions of dollars are to be made running, knowing you're never going to win. And he's a grifter.
Yeah,
he knows he's not going to win.
Like I don't get it. Like,
MAGA hates this guy.
He should have dropped out a week ago. You know, Ron.
I gotta tell you, this moment that the American people are not my concern is so devastating. He may drop out before the first debate in August.
Yeah, or after the debate, I would guess.
He might try to make it. It depends. You know, it's up to us to focus in on this and make this a big discussion. Don't let this die over the weekend.
Yeah. Wow. Once I saw this clip, after I got off work, I was like, oh my God.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You just straight out front lie. You just lie. Nobody trusts you. You're a snake self.
Well, I think we saw the real Mike Pence for the first time. The American people that are suffering are not his concern.
Yeah, like all your actions as vice president just proved and pointed out that lie you just made today.
Oh.
You know, like.
Yeah. Let me ask you. Do you? I don't question this about people too often, but do you think he's a true Christian, or do you think he's a phony? I think he's a phony.
He's just putting on a show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of these fake televangelist types.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest Trump's mistakes. That is one big mistake Trump made, was picking him as vice president.
Yeah. No one's perfect. You know. No one's perfect. But we're on to him now.
Yeah, but that's he'll learn his lesson now, not to choose a swamp creature. So
he's really pissed off right now. He hate this guy. Hates Tucker.
Tucker just ended his political career.
Yeah, I know,
really
and he wasn't even trying that
No.
hard.
Nope.
Wait
All
till
right,
you
Brian,
see.
keep
Wait,
up
hey,
the good work. I
thank
love
you,
your show.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey there, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hi, this is Joan from Valrico.
Hey, Joan, what's up?
Well, I think we should, everybody put a couple pennies in and get a gravestone for Pence's running for president. He
The
just
campaign.
said, screw the American people, and he wants Ukraine. Oh.
And, I'm glad that this happened in this forum with the Blaze. The Blaze has sponsored this because Glenn Beck and the Blaze are going to make sure that this is viral for day. I mean, this was a big, Glenn Beck might be a little jealous that Tucker was brought in to do this and not him, because he's, and now, and I know Glenn Beck's been doing good coverage today on this, but he has to be jealous because this, a few years ago, this would have been him, not Tucker Carlson. You know what I mean? But Glenn Beck and the Blaze are going to make this viral because it happened on their platform at their event. So this is not going to – the mainstream media that will not want to focus in on this are not going to make this go away. This is going to go for quite some time. This is one of those soundbite moments that you can never recover from.
But you can only leave it to Tucker to pose the question.
Mm-hmm. Wait until you
And
see Tim Scott. When I get to Tim Scott lost his mind when Tucker was pressuring him. Wait till I'm going to get to that one in a little bit. You'll see. So you guys want to make sure you stay tuned because the Tim Scott one, it was brutal. But this could not have happened to a nicer guy, Mike Pence. I'm so glad that he exposed himself.
Well, you know what? We already knew he was a traitor.
Well, I was talking about this at the top of the stream. What we're seeing from Mike Pence and these other snakes, this is what it was like to be a Republican before the era of Trump. Before Trump came down the escalator, our Republican candidates were all phony. They sucked. And we had no one to go to because, they were pro-life, supported the Second Amendment, but they were all like this jerk. All of them, including Newt Gingrich.
They were swamp.
Correct. Yeah. That's right. That's right. And, they're done. The Republican establishment is done because they have lost touch with the pulse of the American people. And the Republican establishment are out there supporting this war in Ukraine that has no purpose with us being involved in it. There's no reason for us to be involved in it.
Absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I know, but it's exciting.
And you know who's paying for it? You and me and everybody else listening when we are working American people and paying our taxes.
Yeah, I read an article a couple days ago that said we've given so much money to Ukraine, it's about $200 per American. Per American.
Well, I didn't vote for that.
Hey. Yeah, but the big guy's got to get his 10%. Right? Biden's got to get his 10%. Pence is obviously... Does it look like Pence is getting money out of Ukraine somehow?
Undoubtedly.
Absolutely.
It kind of looks like that.
It gets worse.
Really, you have to read between the... You know what? It's getting so easy to read between the lines nowadays.
Mm-hmm. This is what Vietnam was all about. Military-industrial complex and crooked politicians.
It's disgusting. I mean,
Yep.
I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. I love Matt Gaetz. Sometimes, Ted Cruz puts out a good zits in there, but, there are certain people that I really love that are really trying to change things.
Yeah. Yeah, well, not Mike Pence. You know what Mike Pence is?
Yep.
He's obviously getting Ukraine money somehow. He's just like Biden. He's as corrupt as Biden. He really is. You can tell by this whole exchange. It's bizarre.
It's undoubtedly, he's getting some bucks. He's got like some money in BlackRock or whatever those places are.
There's something going on. Remember, he used to be in Congress, right? And he was governor. So yeah.
I thought he was a governor.
Before he was governor, he was in the House. And he was also a syndicated radio talk show host for a little bit on a few stations. Then he became governor. Congress, radio, and then governor. So he's establishment. He's a Republican establishment guy, uniparty.
We'll chip in a couple of pennies to have a gravestone for his presidential election.
Yeah, exactly. All right, hey, listen, thanks for the call.
All right, have a good night.
All right, take care. Yeah, you're welcome to call in. It's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. Well, let's finish up with this, because there was another exchange
Along the way, the Biden administration has been slow in providing military support. Make no mistake about this. We promised them 33 Abrams tanks in January. I heard again 2 weeks ago in Ukraine, they still don't have them. We've been telling them we'll train their F-16 pilots, but now they're saying maybe January we'll let somebody transfer some jets.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, have you, I know you're running for president.
And isn't this beautiful? Brett Tucker's like, I can't take this anymore. This is enough of this, okay? He just can't take it anymore.
Still don't have them. We've been telling them we'll train their F-16 pilots, but now they're saying maybe January we'll let somebody transfer some jets.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, have you, I know you're running for president. You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
Yeah, you're on your own, America. Oh, my gosh. Oh, it's beautiful.
I think it's a fair question to ask, like, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern. Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern. I'm running for president of the United States because I think this country's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, because we had jerks like you running for president. Oh, my goodness. This is just absolutely amazing, guys. I love it. I love it. But, you know, Pence had another exchange, too, that did not go very well. Let me play this one.
You've issued a bunch of...
Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. Oh, I love it. Hold on, where are we? Here we are. Listen to this.
Thank you for that. You've issued a bunch of public statements about your views on foreign policy, which are definitely within the mainstream of Republican views, as far as I can tell. You recently met with Zelensky, according to news reports. And I'm wondering if during that meeting, as a prominent...
Super chat from UK Neil. Thank you so much, UK Neil.
Christian leader, which you are in addition to your political views, you broached the question of his treatment of Christians within Ukraine. The Zelensky government has raided convents, arrested priests, has effectively banned a denomination, a Christian denomination, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church within Ukraine, has persecuted Christians. And I wonder if you raised that with him.
I did raise the issue when we were there.
Now, does anybody believe that? I think I'm going to call BS on Pence here. Now he's talking. Now remember, Zelensky has ended religious freedom. He's arresting religious leaders. He's ended the no election while the war is going on. So he's president for life. Hold on, let's go here. Hey there, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike, what's up?
Oh, not much. I mean, this Pence guy.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Look.
It's beautiful, man. I love it.
He's a real beaut, you know that?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the same guy that when January 6th was going down and he had a job to do, you know, and his job was to be the vice president and listen to the things brought up about these electors. He didn't do it. He tucked his tail behind his legs and left.
Mm-hmm. Well, you look at him now, and he said that crime in American cities and people that are Americans being victimized, that's not his concern. Ukraine is. They need to get their tanks and all this other expensive stuff.
So you know what that tells me? That tells me that when the BLM riots were taking place in Portland and Seattle and stuff, that wasn't his concern.
Yeah, his concern is getting paid. If you go online and look at his house, it's massive. Now I know, I know he had a little short stint in radio, but he's spent his whole life in government. How does he afford that mansion?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. We talk all the time. You've talked all the time about, Ron DeSantis doesn't own a car, doesn't own a house, and all that stuff. I mean, I would assume that back when he was governor of Indiana, that he was the same way. That Pence was the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these guys. He is less unelectable than even DeSantis, but they're both unelectable for life. I mean, they're both. This moment today is a career-ending moment for him. It's over.
Right, and that's the thing. And here's something else people don't realize. At one point, when he was the governor of Indiana, he was a hot ticket. He was a guy that...
Well, you know what it was? If you remember, when he was governor of Indiana, there were two things that were going on that he was involved in. It's when the Target was allowing men to use the ladies' room, and he passed a law in Indiana forbidding men from using the ladies' room. And that was a big thing, and he was one of the first to take a big stand nationally on that when he was governor of Indiana. And also, he was allowing gays, or he was allowing therapists in Indiana to see patients who were gay, who wanted to come out of their gay lifestyle, right? They call it conversion therapy, whatever. But he allowed that to continue. They didn't like that either, but he stood up for those controversial things. But now look at him. He's a sellout. He's pimping for this war, and he's a liar.
He's as establishment can be,
Yeah, and
this is a guy. He is done. DeSantis is done, and he's more done than DeSantis is.
Hey, Mike, take care, man. Thanks for the call. Okay, Mike doesn't say goodbye. Hey, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Larry from Dallas.
Hey, Larry in Dallas, speak up.
Regarding Mike Pence.
Yeah.
It's not just him. It's the whole family. I mean, the guy is so phony. It's kind of sad, really. And I've heard you and Kathy talk about Casey DeSantis. His wife isn't much different. I got to run.
Okay. I don't know what that means exactly. So now let's get back. Now, this is the second clip with Pence. And Tucker is calling him out on the restrictions on religious freedom that Zelensky has brought to us. And let's get through this, because this one's a bad one, too, for Pence, because he's lying.
Thank you for that. You've issued a bunch of public statements about your views on foreign policy, which are definitely within the mainstream of Republican views, as far as I can tell. You recently met with Zelensky, according to news reports. And I'm wondering if during that meeting, as a prominent Christian leader, which you are in addition to your political views, you broached the question of his treatment of Christians within Ukraine. The Zelensky government has raided convents, arrested priests, has effectively banned a Christian denomination, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church within Ukraine, has persecuted Christians. And I wondered if you raised that with him.
I did raise the issue when we were there.
Okay, now, first off, I call total BS on this. I don't think he raised jack. I think Pence is really lying big time here. But this exchange gets a little heated. Watch this.
And I raised it with the leader of the Orthodox Church when I was visiting Kiev, and asked him...
Oh, there he's doing that Clinton biting the lip thing. Now, when he talked to the guy from the Orthodox Church in Kiev, he says Kiev. He pronounces it, like the mainstream media. When he was talking to this Orthodox leader about religious oppression by Zelensky, did he have Zelensky's henchmen around him, or was the guy in a private talk where he was free to talk?
The Orthodox Church, when I was visiting Kiev, and asked him about concerns about religious liberty. He assured me that the Zelensky government in Ukraine was respecting religious liberty, even while recognizing that there were very small elements of the Russian Orthodox Church that were being utilized for the purpose of advancing the Russian cause in Ukraine, and that they were taking steps to hold them to account. But the leader of the church at St. Michael's in Kiev told me personally that he believed that the Zelensky government was respecting religious liberty. And I must tell you...
Now, first of all, I mean, this is complete bullshit, okay? We know that Zelensky has outlawed the Russian Orthodox Church, okay? I mean, we know this. This is a fact. This is a fact that's been widely reported. Everyone knows this.
Other than the sanctity of life, there's no higher priority in my life than preserving the freedom of religion in America and championing religious liberty around the world.
Okay, so now Pence here, this is Pence is like flipping out here because he's totally screwed. So he's saying some things that he's looking at the audience. If you see him looking at the audience, saying some things, he's trying to get applause from the audience, right? He can't get applause from the audience because he's a jerk.
Preserving the freedom of religion in America and championing religious liberty around the world.
I'm confused. On this question, it's very clear that the Zelensky government has arrested priests for having views they disagree with. That's not consistent with religious liberty. It's an attack on it, and we're funding it. And I'm just wondering how is it, and I don't mean to be disrespectful at all, but I sincerely wonder how a Christian leader could support the arrest of Christians for having different views.
Well, what I can tell you is I asked the Christian leader in Kiev if that was in fact happening, and he assured me that it was not. People were not being persecuted for their religious beliefs. Now,
he said let me
take a break here. I know we disagree on this.
Oh, now Pence is in a panic now. See, he's trying to shut down Tucker because he's trying to run out the clock. There's only so much time allocated for this segment on stage. So Pence, he's trying to stop Tucker from asking questions.
We're not being persecuted for their religious beliefs.
Watch.
Now,
he said
let me take a break here. I know we disagree on this strongly, but I respect your right.
Hold on, caller. I'll be right with you.
To your opinion on Ukraine, and I trust you'll respect mine. Look, I've been to Ukraine now twice.
Yeah, I know, to pick up the checks. Hey, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Are you talking to me?
Sounds like you. Sounds like you.
I'm Vicky from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hey, Vicky.
Hi, how are you, Brian?
Doing all right.
I noticed something a long time ago when I first saw Pence come onto the scene, and I just want to know if I'm crazy. I pay attention to very little things, and you know how family members often have the same kind of gestures and body language.
Yeah,
you know, the Bible
mannerisms.
tells us we were formed in continuous.
Yep.
Well, if you look at Pence, and you just take his face and the gray hair away, he has the gestures and mannerisms of George W. Bush.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he moves, moves.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I was the only one seeing that.
I never thought of it, and I never thought of it until you bring it up. But now that you bring it up, you're right. Yeah. Yeah. You know why? You know why? Because he's groomed by the same people. He's in the Bush. He's in the Bush group.
Maybe so. I didn't know about that, but I just noticed it, and I thought, now, am I crazy, or is anybody else seeing this?
You're not crazy, well, thank you for your call. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being there.
All right. Yeah. So now this is going to get a little heated here. Watch this.
Ukraine, and I trust you'll respect mine. Look, I've been to Ukraine now twice. My wife and I traveled into Ukraine a month after the initial...
Yeah, I'm seeing the Bush mannerisms, the GW mannerisms. Yeah, I'm seeing it. Yeah, the caller, she was right.
...initiation of hostilities. We traveled then with a group called Samaritan's Purse, providing Christian relief to the millions of Ukrainians, women and children of every age that had to flee that country in the face of the unprovoked Russian invasion that began a year and a half ago. I did return, took an 11-hour train ride into Kyiv, also again with Samaritan's Purse. We not only met with government leaders, but we met with Christian relief workers. We're literally rebuilding homes of people in small towns, little hamlets, that a year ago were being shelled by Russian tanks. All the people in...
See, this is all running out the clock stuff, but Tucker's going to come back. Watch.
That community was just sitting in their homes. I mean, the truth is, what I saw was not just evidence of war, but I saw evil. And I believe that it is in the interest of the United States of America to continue to give the Ukrainian military the resources that they need to repel the Russian invasion and restore their sovereignty.
Would you, may I ask, would you be, and I believe you have a good faith position on this, and we have disagreements on it, but I want to just, I can't let you elide over the question of the treatment of Christians. And
I know, I heard
and
that
would
again,
you be,
Tucker.
well, no, but hold on, would you be
The problem is
willing?
you don't accept my answer. I just told you that I asked the religious leader in Kiev if it was happening. You asked me if I raised the issue, and I did.
And I'm saying
I also raised it
factually
with the
incorrect.
Ukrainians, and I was told that there are religious leaders who have been working with the Russian military that is murdering people by the thousands.
Okay.
I mean, Tucker, look.
Wait, but hold on. Don't you think...
Let me explain to you what I think our national interest is there.
I would think you would have greater concern for religious liberty in Ukraine. And I'm surprised by your
I told you I
answer.
raised the issue of religious
No,
liberty.
you spoke to one person who's clearly
I didn't
on
say I
one
spoke to
side
one
of it, and there are many, many news reports that are not disputed by anybody that many clergy have been arrested in Ukraine. And I'm merely saying I may not agree with their views. I'm not Russian Orthodox, but you can't arrest clergy for having different views, period. Because if you do, you violate the basic tenet of religious liberty.
I want to be clear with you. I won't stand by it. I won't stand for it. If people are being persecuted for their religious beliefs, I won't stand for it. In any country with which a country of our nation is supporting or our allies are supporting.
Yes.
Period. Paragraph.
I mean, Pence. I mean, Pence is pissed. He got. This is the first real interview that Pence has done. Right? I mean, this is the first time he hasn't had someone like Hannity kissing his ass and all this crap. This is the first time that he's had his feet held to the fire, and he's not very good at it. In fact, he's very strange when you get down to it. Isn't he just a weird guy? Hey, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? That Pence is done. Oh. Hello. Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? You got turn down the volume of the turn down the volume in the back.
This is Joan from Valrico. You know what? I remember a few months ago, the government went to give money to pay pensions for people in Ukraine.
Yeah, that's right.
And what?
That's right.
Am I right?
Yeah. And I think, well, yes. We're paying, when they were talking about pensions, we're paying the salaries of all the government workers, all the bureaucracy, the government officials. The pensions, I think they were talking about was their version of Social Security. They call those pensions a lot of times in Europe, old age pensions. But yeah, that's right. We're paying their retirement fund. Yeah, sure.
So what about us?
Well, screw us. They Pence said we're not his concern. Pence said we're not his concern.
I called you before, and I'm just like, I watch your show,
shocking.
and I watch, and I work from home, so I have my 2 screens for work, and I'm listening to stuff all day, and Congress and everything, and I know.
It's upsetting.
My head's ready to blow up.
Well, Tucker. Tucker is. Think about this. Tucker.
We're paying their benefits for Social Security and everything else.
That's right.
And what about people here?
Listen. I was talking this morning. I don't have health insurance because it's too expensive, right? With all that Obamacare wrecking it, I don't have health insurance. I bet everybody in Ukraine has health insurance that we're paying for.
Don't tell me about that, because before Obamacare, I would pay $45 biweekly for health insurance. Mm-hmm. All right? After Obamacare, same salary, nothing changed. I was paying $165 biweekly.
Wow.
I was paying for somebody else's health care.
That's right. That's right. Hey, listen, we got to make up for past injustices against people that don't have anything to do with us and aren't even alive anymore, you know. Hey, listen, thanks for the call.
You know what? If you want health insurance, get a job.
Yeah. Or become Ukrainian.
There you go.
All right, take care. So Tucker was really on fire today, and Tim Scott's another one who's been getting very easy interviews, and he made a fool out of himself with his bizarre positions. He's another big Ukraine hawk, and Tucker held his feet to the fire.
Well, so here's, I'm just interested because all measures are relative. So Russia's bad, Russia's a threat, Putin's evil, got it. But the total body count from Russia in the United States is right around 0. Like, I don't know anyone who's been killed by Russia. I know people personally who've been killed by Mexico. The government of Mexico allows fentanyl to be made in its country and to come over our border.
Yes.
And remittances from Mexico are a huge part of their economy. The Mexican government is party to the murder of hundreds of thousands of Americans. So why is Mexico less of a threat than Russia?
Well, two things. I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Okay, but
Yeah, and frankly, here's
no Americans killed by Russia, hundreds of thousands killed by Mexico, but Mexico's our ally and Russia's our enemy. How does that work?
Well, I'm not going to pretend like the legislation I have sponsored and I would sign as President of the United States freezes the assets of the Mexican cartels, targets the Mexican cartels, and hopefully eliminates the flow of fentanyl. Because I do agree with you that 70,000 Americans losing their lives on an annual basis is an existential threat to America that we can solve. We don't have to choose the good news.
Would you be willing to say to the Mexican government, your economy runs on factories right over the border, car plants, for example, but many other manufacturing plants, and we're just going to slap tariffs on that and tank your economy, like tomorrow, unless you stop allowing poison to come into our country? Like, why not do that?
I say you use every tool available to stop fentanyl from coming across our border. No exceptions.
Interesting.
Okay.
Well,
now,
so here's
now it's going to get worse for Scott in just a moment in the next clip, which I'm going to play for you. But before we do, I want to tell you guys about the Thomas Edison of sleep, Mike Lindell, the inventor of the MyPillow. And I'm sure you've seen the stories. There's two different reports. One say that MyPillow, because of this woke cancel culture going against MyPillow, he's lost $100 million. Some stories say $250 million. And, you know, through all of this, Mike Lindell has not laid off a single employee. It's amazing. And if you want to support Mike Lindell and support all of my content, which is the radio show, my YouTube channel, my podcast, and everything, go to mypillow.com and buy something using my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And, you know, 20 years ago, Mike Lindell introduced the MyPillow to the world. And there's a 20th anniversary sale going on at mypillow.com. Every item you see at mypillow.com that's got a special going, you can use my promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout and take advantage of that special. Now, this is the classic MyPillow that started it all. The queen size MyPillow, just $19.98. Normally $69.98. That's a good deal with my promo code Kane at checkout. The MyPillow 2.0 with cooling technology, buy one, get one free. I sleep on this every night. So does my wife with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And there's just so many great deals. Look at this. The MyPillow slippers. I'm wearing my MyPillow slippers right now. They are as low as $25 a pair with my promo code Kane at checkout. You can save, look at this, up to 80% off top MyPillow products. There's so many specials. Take advantage of all of these specials with my promo code Kane at checkout. You know, this is the MyPillow body pillow. It's the full length of the body, has that MyPillow patented fill inside. Steve Kane sleeps with one of these, just $39.99 with my promo code Kane at checkout. But like I said, no matter what the special says, you can take advantage of it with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. And when you do that, of course, you are supporting all of
I wonder what you do with the million.
Now, getting back to Tucker here, this he just filleted Pence and ended his career. Mike Pence is not even useful to the rhinos, right? I keep calling them rats, trying to get that going. Rats are Republicans against Trump. Now this next clip, Tim Scott just totally lost his mind and gets really weird here. Watch this. This is insane. Tim Scott just did one of the... I've never seen someone do, when they're an elected official, while they're being interviewed, have a panic attack like this, right? We saw Pence. Pence was pissed. Tim Scott had an anxiety attack. Anxiety attacks is the same as a panic attack. And what he does is insane. Watch this.
I can't imagine many people would disagree with that. I wonder what you do with the millions of foreign nationals here illegally, many with fake papers, who are here. Like, what do you do with them? You become president.
Yes.
Sworn in January 2025, and you've got, let's say, 7 million people who've come in the last 4 years. What do you do with them? Do you deport them?
I think it's a very difficult task to deport them all at one time, but here's what we make sure they never do, is you never break the law and become an American citizen by breaking the laws.
Well, hold on, would you deport any of them? How many would you deport?
I think you have to start the process of identifying where they are. Listen, this is
They're everywhere.
really important question. I hope that we don't miss it.
See, would you deport the illegals? He won't say yes. He won't say no, which not answering this question is a no. Okay, he will not deport them. Now he's going to start to, let me go back. He's going through a panic attack now, and he's going to get real weird.
I think you have to start the process of identifying where they are. Listen, this is a really important question. I hope that we don't miss this. Because those folks who come into our country illegally, even those who are seeking asylum, go...
Look at this. He got out of his chair. If this is a sit-down, one-on-one interview, he got out of his chair, and look at Tucker's face. Tucker's like, what the is going on here? This is... And he's doing what Pence was doing in a different way. Yeah, this right here is Chuck in the chat said worse than Admiral Stockdale. This is the worst moment that I've ever seen an elected official display in an interview. So Mike Pence was trying to run out the clock. Tim Scott had a panic attack, and he gets up out of the chair. He turns into a black minister and starts preaching and tries to take control of the stage and the audience. Watch. And watch Tucker's face as he does it.
Really important question. I hope that we don't miss this. Because those folks who come into our country illegally, even those who are seeking asylum, go around our country, and some of the asylum dates for your court appearance is 2033. 10 years from now.
Okay, now what he's doing is he's up, he's got his back to Tucker, and he's going. This is probably his stump speech, right? This is probably his stump speech, and he's just going into this by rote. He doesn't even know what he's saying. This is all by memory, and what Tucker Carlson did here is brilliant, brilliant. He sits here and lets this jerk make a fool out of himself instead of trying to interrupt and get him back in the chair. What Tucker did is beautiful. Now, let me go back. I'll play the whole thing here.
Come into our country illegally, even those who are seeking asylum, go around our country, and some of the asylum dates for your court appearance is 2033. 10 years from now. So finding those who've come to our country illegally has to be a part of the job number one. And that means that we're going to have to take a look panoramically across our country and make sure that we stop this thing called sanctuary cities and sanctuary states that receive our resources to make sure that the federal government cannot figure out where the folks are. So in order for us to achieve the goals that the really brilliant guy on the stage, I'm not talking about myself, wants us to achieve. That was a compliment, by the way.
Oh, sorry, it went right over my head. I was like,
I want to make sure I got it. Sometimes I give compliments. I have to let people
Brilliant's
know.
a little strong.
Okay. Really smart cookie over here. Achieve, we have to identify where they are. And I'm not going to pretend that will be an easy task, but that should be the responsibility.
Well, wait a second. The federal government's like knows where everyone is because everyone has a smartphone.
So now look, now it's not going to end here. Right now, watch what Tim Scott does. By the way, if you'd like to call in, it's a toll-free call. The phone lines are open. 1-888-4 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631.
Phone, and they're
Yes,
tracking you.
yes.
You know, so like we know anyone using a fake social security number, why not just like drop them off in Tijuana? Bye-bye.
Well, I'm going to appoint Tucker Carlson as my bye-bye ambassador to figure this out. So we're going to work together on this. And I look
a
forward to
sincere
it.
question. Like
I'm sincere
maybe
as
the
well.
reason that people come by the millions, uninvited, illegally, making a mockery of the rule of law. I have to obey the law, but someone from Haiti doesn't? Or what? But they come because they know that no politician will say, come and you're leaving. Like they don't put up with this in Japan.
Absolutely. Well, they don't put up
you're
with
gone.
They don't
Why not do that?
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is great stuff. I mean, it does not get better than this. I mean, he took down 2 of the presidential candidates right in a row there. Now, it gets a little more involved. Here's the next one. Watch this. Now, this might go back a little bit to some we've seen, but let's see here.
May I ask, and thank you for saying that about the 100,000 Americans, mostly young people, mostly not in the cities, dying every year. So that's hundreds
he's not done
of
yet, Tim
thousands
Scott.
just in the last several years. Why? And you said we should build the wall that was started and then dismantled. Why not build a human wall with, say, the reservists who were called up to go defend Ukraine? Why wouldn't they be defending our border?
Totally agree with you. Yeah.
Well, but there's no effort. I mean, the Pentagon has said, the last president kind of suggested that, didn't do anything about it, but he suggested it. And I think most people thought, well, that's not a crazy idea. And the Pentagon said, like, no, we're not going to do that, as if it's their call. Why would you fund the Pentagon if they are refusing to defend the United States?
Well, here's what I've already done in my legislation. I created legislation that says, now, let me just do a survey of the audience.
See, look, he got out of the chair again. He's getting asked uncomfortable questions, so Tim Scott's trying to take over. Watch what he does. It gets really weird
Already
here.
done in my legislation. I created legislation that says, now, let me just do a survey of the audience. How many of y'all think we need 87,000 new IRS agents in America? I can't hear you. Say it one more time. I think y'all said no. I agree. Why not take the...
See, this is back to his stump speech. I bet you that this and the thing before are both his stump speech.
I can't hear you. Say it one more time. I think y'all said no. I agree. Why not take the Inflation Reduction Act that actually increases inflation and the 87,000 new IRS agents that are funded by the $82 billion in additional funding for the IRS, which the $82 billion, about $40 billion is a target, people making under $200,000 of income. Why not take those 87,000 positions and put those folks on the border? Why not increase the pay of our border and patrol agents? Why not give them the resources they need to surveil our borders and do the jobs that they desperately want to do? As President of the United States, I would sign my legislation and divert the resources from the IRS to the border so that we could secure our border.
You're going to audit all those people coming in?
They said he was witty. I see it with my own eyes right now.
I'm for it, by the way.
Oh my goodness! I mean, that one's a bad one. I mean, you know, Pence and Tim Scott right now are feeling really bad. You know, I've had not happened for a long time, but there's been once or twice when I've been on the air and things didn't go as well as I liked. And when you feel embarrassed publicly, it's a tough thing to get over. It doesn't feel good. And when you've humiliated yourself like these idiots did, and everyone's talking about you on social media, and I imagine millions of people have already seen these, and millions more are going to see them by this time tomorrow, that is a humiliation beyond description. Pence is done, and I don't say this lightly. Tim Scott is Republican affirmative action. The Republican Party has applied affirmative action. This is really the first time, like Pence, what Tucker did, I don't know if he's getting enough credit for this, but what Tucker Carlson has done here is amazing. He is unmasked two of these career Republican establishment politicians and shown the world their true personality. Now, Pence, we all knew he was an asshole. None of us like Pence. But Tim Scott is different, okay? Tim Scott, we really didn't think he was like this. I saw in his announcement, and he got into his preacher mode, and I thought he was just excited. But if he were not African American, he would not be a United States Senator. This guy got promoted way up above his capability levels. He's awful. So I got another clip here of Tim Scott with Tucker.
You know, the Third World War very quickly. So why not force a peace?
How would you do that?
Well, you could tell Ukraine, and they are a client state of the United States.
See, I mean, he's like, you know, see how wimpy Tim Scott is? He says we could force a peace. And he's like, well, how would you do that? He's like laughing at Tucker. Like we have, the only thing we can do is send money, that we can't do anything to force peace talks and force an end to this war between Russia and Ukraine.
You know, the Third World War very quickly. So why not force a peace?
How would you do that?
Well, you could tell Ukraine, and they are a client state of the United States, without American backing, there's kind of no Ukraine. We're literally paying the salaries of their bureaucrats. We want you to sit down, as they tried to do, but were stopped by our government, and stop this war. Yeah. And reach a peace as one does, where both sides, you know, concede some of their interests. Like, why wouldn't that be in our interest to do that?
I think the faster we get to peace, the better off we are. What we don't want to do, from my perspective, is allow ourselves to ask for a premature peace that cannot be achieved as the alliances continue to come together. To the extent that we can find our path out of this situation, the better off we are.
So what's the point at which we'll know that we've achieved our goal?
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting. So at what point do we have victory in Ukraine?
So what's the point at which we'll know that we've achieved our goal? Just, and I say that within the context of having watched 20 years of occupation in Afghanistan, where nobody could answer the question, what's the point?
Yes.
And no one in Congress ever asked that question, amazingly. So what is the specific goal here?
Yeah, so I would say that the objective should be for Zelensky and Ukraine to be able to achieve victory by maintaining as much of their territory as they possibly can, and then seeing the resources that we've deployed, along with our Western alliances, achieving the peace that I believe comes when you get these two folks to sit down and have a conversation that allows.
Now, at this point, now he's reminded me of Kamala Harris talking about AI the other day. I mean, this is just brutal. And, you know, what Tucker has done, we now have three of the Republicans opposing our great President Donald Trump out of the running, right? DeSantis, Tim Scott, and Pence. They're all done. It's absolutely amazing, guys. And Tucker Carlson deserves a lot of credit. You know, I'll throw this question out to you. You can call me at 1-888-465-2631. It's the same call-in number I use on the weekday live stream, 888-465-2631. Or you can let me know in the chat. Hey, caller, hang in there just 1 second. But do you think that Donald Trump will take part in any debates with any of these Republicans? I don't think he will. What's your name? Where are you calling from, caller?
Hey, Brian, it's Slick from YouTube.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, it's good that we got around to a Ukraine question for Tim Scott, because I noticed that he really doesn't have much of an answer for what victory in Ukraine is going to be. And, you know, they say, to get back as much territory and hold on to it. Well, you know, that we were told that there was going to be some spring offensive that was going to change the entire outlook of the conflict. And what's come of that spring offensive? Nothing.
Yeah.
So,
in fact, I mean, the fact that there have not, Biden said from the beginning there will be no talks with Putin. Since when do you have a war and you won't have any discussions to end the war? This is insane. And in a situation like this, since this conflict doesn't involve us directly, we're supposed to be peacemakers.
Well, sending cluster bombs doesn't sound like it's going to create any sort of peace. If anything,
Well,
it's going to escalate it further.
That's going to escalate. Those cluster bombs are going to kill civilians.
And in years in the future, who knows? But this escalation. Biden said that they were sending the cluster bombs. If he was lucid and not having a senior moment, they sent the cluster bombs because Ukraine's running out of other ammunition. So my question is, and I'm getting to a point here, what's going to happen when they run out of the cluster bombs?
Send them more.
I'll tell no, because we'll run out of the cluster bombs. I'll tell you what's going to happen next, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
You notice how there was a headline this week about the U.S. chemical weapons stockpile?
Yeah.
Something about how we're dismantling it. Well, you know what? I don't fully believe the government when they say that. I think that we've given Ukraine the chemical weapons that we had.
Wouldn't surprise me. Even and I'll tell you why that doesn't surprise me. If this were a couple weeks ago, I would be surprised at that. But cluster bombs, we've said that cluster bombs are illegal weapons that are only used by war criminals. To use them would be a war crime, and now we're shipping them to the conflict. So when we're sending weapons openly, that not long ago we were saying were war criminal weapons, nothing they do would surprise me.
Yeah, and Tucker had talked about this a year ago on his show. There was something about, I think Marco Rubio asked Victoria Nuland a question about chemical weapons in Ukraine and if the U.S. had any or if Ukraine had any. And you know what her answer was?
What was that?
Very similar to Tim Scott. She didn't answer the question.
Yeah, exactly.
So when they don't answer questions, I just assume it's yes these days.
I got to tell you, Tim Scott, I mean, that was brutal with Tim Scott. I mean, what he did was one of the worst moments. The only thing I've ever seen really close to that, in 2000 when Bush and Gore were debating, there was this one debate where they were on, GW and Al Gore, they were on a stage in the round, and Al Gore got out of his chair and walked over to George Bush while he was answering a question. And George Bush says, "Hey there, how you doing?" It was pretty embarrassing. But do you guys remember that? Go look it up on YouTube.
I don't.
After my stream.
I was a little young for that one, but I think Tim Scott. He got up, he walked to the very end of the stage. I don't know if he was so scared he wanted to jump off and run out the auditorium, or if he just had to fart. I can't tell.
Well, what happened was he choked. He this is the way it is, okay? And Tim Scott, and I didn't think this before this moment. Tim Scott is an affirmative action quota of the Republican Party. And when people are when mainstream political people, which includes the Republican establishment, when they're talking to someone who's black, they defer to them. They give them a little, extra, everything. And Tim Scott just is not ready to be where he's at. I mean, he's barely ready for the House of Representatives, and he's in the Senate. I mean, that was a full-blown panic attack. And if he can't handle some very mild questioning from Tucker Carlson, how's he going to be president or vice president? What an embarrassment.
He just by looking at him being, happy feet and nervous on the stage like that to a tough question, what's he going to do when the Secretary of Defense walks into the Oval Office and tells him that China just invaded Taiwan?
Yeah, I guess he'll
what's Mike Pence?
He'll go into preacher mode again.
Do?
He'll go into preacher mode again.
Yeah, he'll be preaching to thin air, hopefully. But I look at these people and I look at Scott and Pence and even DeSantis and I just when things escalate further in Ukraine, do you really think they're going to try to put an end to the war? No, they're going to listen to everything that their bought and paid for generals by the military-industrial complex tell them to do, which means we're going to send Ukraine chemical weapons, we're going to send U.S. boots on the ground, and you know what? Hopefully never, but possibly it'll just escalate into the use of tactical nuclear weapons.
That's right.
And then we'll be on the road to World War III.
And that's what they want. And, once the winds start blowing, you can't tell where that fallout's going to blow. You really can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary. We're in scary
all right,
times.
Brian,
thanks for the call.
I wanted to bring up the potential use of chemical weapons in the future because it is a concern that I do have.
And I
think it may be happening.
It may have already happened.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
take care,
have a
man.
good night, Brian.
All right, that's Slick Pickles from the chat. Hey, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Everything that they're
Hello? Yes. You can,
I'm sorry.
what's your name?
This is John from Valrico.
Hey, listen. I limit the calls to one call per show.
I know, but the thing is, Putin.
I'll let you do it this last time, but you can't keep. You're filling up the lines, and it's really just one call per show. But that's all. You're on the air, so go ahead.
Okay, Putin cannot read Trump, and Trump will go in there, and he'll do like he did with Rocket Man, and he'll say, "You got a button, I got a button."
Well, the thing, what Trump is going to do, by the way, thanks for the call. What Trump's going to do, even with Obama wrecking it, even with Biden wrecking it, the American economy is still the number one economy in the world. So what he will do is use our economic strength to end the war. Ukraine's easy. We'll cut them off completely and they're done, right? And Russia, without us, they're in trouble too. They'll be, and I'm not talking about some mild embargo where they stop this or they stop that. Trump will stop everything. And he'll use our economic power to get the Europeans, to get the NATO nations to go along with us, including Germany. This is, look at what he's told stories about how he's done this in his rallies. I can't remember what the issue was, but he wanted France to do something and they wouldn't do it. I can't remember what it was. They wouldn't do it. And he said he was going to put a 25% tax on all champagne the next day. They did it. Same thing with Mexico, right? He wanted Mexico to send their army to their northern border to stop illegals from crossing. They said no. So he was going to put a 25% import tax on all goods from Mexico. So Mexico did what Trump wanted. That's how Trump gets stuff done. See, these politicians in other countries, these dictators, these narco leaders in Mexico or Putin, who's a dictator, they're like our politicians. They're like Pence. They're like Biden. All they care about is their money. And that's where Trump gets to them, with the money. So that's exactly what he would do, and that's how he would end it. Now, I want to tell you guys about the Mighty MAGA Lion. Now, the Mighty MAGA Lion is available at mightymagalion.com, but this is an exclusive creation of ours right here on The Brian Craig Show, all right? My wife, Kathy, and I partnered up with Dee, and you guys know Dee. She's in my chat all the time, and she's one of my moderators in my YouTube chat. And we partnered up with Dee, and we designed the Mighty MAGA Lion. This, of course, is our great president, Donald Trump. He's got his MAGA hat on and 45 on the side, just like the one I'm wearing, like the one President Trump wears. And this is going to be the hottest gift this Christmas. This is awesome. MightyMagaLion.com. Buy yours. It's a beautiful lion. You will love it. I know a lot of you have already ordered yours. And just go to MightyMagaLion.com. It makes a great gift for yourself, for the kids, for your significant other, for your friends at work. And it is available exclusively with us. We've had these custom made. We designed it and had them custom made. So, you can get these nowhere else other than through my wife and I and Dee at MightyMagaLion.com. MightyMagaLion.com. Order yours, and you'll have one too. This is the original one. This is the first one off the assembly line. It's pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I love it. The Mighty MAGA Lion. I'm going to take the Mighty MAGA Lion up to Mar-a-Lago one day, just to show the Mighty MAGA Lion where the boss lives. Okay, now I want to show this to you. This is just freaking insane. Here's Joe Biden.
Washington at this
with this child.
Washington at this moment, but this was him wrapping up today's meeting with Nordic leaders, as you saw it here just moments ago. The president departing Helsinki, Finland.
And look at those idiot parents. I don't care. I don't care who it is. This guy, okay? They just found cocaine in his house, okay? And not only has he gone up to the child, he's putting his mouth on this child. He's putting his mouth on this child. And these two idiot parents in Helsinki just think it's adorable.
Washington at this
They're taking selfies and laughing.
moment, but this was him wrapping up today's meeting with Nordic leaders, as you saw it here just moments ago. The president departing Helsinki, Finland, and thanking folks there as he exited to Air Force One. He capped off.
I mean, what the hell is that all about? My goodness, what would you do? I'd get my kid the hell out of there is exactly what I would do. My goodness. I know, it's gross, isn't it? You know, with everything that's going on with this guy, you know, the sex problems with, he's been accused of a sexual assault. We all know about Hunter, the cocaine in his house, and he's doing that? Are you kidding me? Now, MSNBC, this is MSNBC. They are.
He was on top of.
Okay, now there's no one more checked out in the history of our land running it than Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden has some type of dementia. We don't know if it's Alzheimer's, if it's Parkinson's. We don't know what Joe Biden has, but he's got some hardcore dementia. So watch this.
Home, because this president is good at what he does, and these
I've always told people. Mm-hmm. No, I just always told people that the president's very sharp. If you say something or write something, there have been times he's called and he's refuted it very sharply. I've talked to foreign.
See, this is this fake story that came out the other day about the Biden temper. When an aide gives him a report, if it's missing something, how the F did this get here without this information? They're trying to make it sound like he's sharp as a tack. And, you know, this is, of course, Morning Joe and Mika. Now, I know none of you guys watch them. In fact, no one does, because this is when I'm on. They're on opposite me, and I know everyone's watching me. I guess MSNBC has to put something on to go up against me in the mornings. But, I mean, to go on the air and talk about how sharp and witted Joe Biden is, which is the complete opposite of the situation that is observable to anyone, is insanity.
Something. There have been times he's called and he's refuted it very sharply. I've talked to foreign leaders that have had conversations with him that said that he was on top of every issue, and to the degree that they were actually some NATO leaders have told me they were very surprised. The contrast between the image in public and the Joe Biden behind closed doors.
Okay, so this is, I mean, look at this total lying of Morning Joe here. So what he's saying here is that the foreign leaders, the NATO leaders, they talk about how different he is behind closed doors as opposed to in the public. So in the public, when he's all like this, and he's out of it, doesn't know where the hell he is. He doesn't know how to get off the stage or anything else. But behind, when you don't see him on TV, he's with it. He's sharp as a tack. He's normal. He only seems like he has dementia when he's in front of the cameras. When you see him backstage without the cameras, he's with it. He doesn't look like he has dementia then.
Contrast between the image in public and the Joe Biden behind closed doors, because he is so sharp and he's on top of everything. So much of it has to do with presentation. I will say also, for any Trumpers that are saying, oh my God, they're talking about how we may need to take a rest every once in a while. Please, you're talking about Donald Trump, who did nothing but sit in his office and watch cable news all day. The executive time, would we like to get well, I'm sure we could go to Mar-a-Lago. He probably has them shoved in drawers, all of his stuff. But Gene, let me just say, if we were talking about style over substance, that would be one thing. We're talking about matching reality with perception. And Bill Clinton had a great saying, which was, if a turtle shows up on top of a fence post, it didn't get there by accident. NATO did not expand the historic.
Okay, whatever. Okay, yeah, Joe's really with it. If he's so with it, why does he act like he has dementia when he's on television, Joe? Could you tell us that? I'd like to know. I can't quite figure out why he would do that. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. This is... Maybe it's always been like this in the media. You know, maybe they've always been such liars and they're just not good at it anymore, or they don't feel a need to cover up anymore. You know, their Trump derangement syndrome has set them off, and they can't control themselves anymore. But I am very glad that Ron DeSantis is done. This is an article that's in The Hill. Look at this. Ron DeSantis, quit now and save yourself for the future. I like that. The day after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis won re-election by a shocking 19-point margin. Now, keep in mind, that's when we thought he was MAGA. He won by 19 points. And the guy he ran against, Charlie Crist, he was the Democrat running for governor. He had been governor before. He used to be a Republican, and he switched to Democrat. So Charlie Crist who was also brought to us by Jeb Bush. Charlie Crist is pretty hated. He's a turncoat, just like DeSantis. But when DeSantis won by 19 points, he was still on the Trump train. He'd not come out of the closet as fake MAGA yet. Anyway, the day after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis won re-election by a shocking 19-point margin, the Rupert Murdoch-owned New York Post screamed a one-word front-page headline, "The future." Yeah, I remember that. The photo showed a Kennedy-esque, central casting-worthy family, Casey DeSantis, that's Walmart Melania, holding hands with her two small children, looked like a future first lady in her stunning gold designer gown on her way to the inaugural ball. The victorious governor held their third child with one arm, waving to the crowd with the other. At that moment, on November 8th, 2022, Ron and Casey DeSantis' White House dreams merged with positive political reality. But this re-election blowout was merely a preview for the ambitious couple who married at Disney World. They did get married at Disney World, which is very expensive. All Disney movies had a villain aiming to destroy and derail the main characters. You know his name. He's currently defeating the future with a 32-point lead among Republican primary voters. So they're talking about the polls that have DeSantis so far behind. It's hopeless at this point, right? It's just completely hopeless. And I saw DeSantis today. Let me see if I have this video. I'm not sure I have this video. I watched him today, and he was... No, I don't have the video. But I saw DeSantis today at a campaign event. I'm not sure where it was. He was wearing a sweater vest, and I saw him walking, and he looked different. He just looked different than I've seen him look ever. And it looks to me like it's finally hit Ron DeSantis that it's over for him, and he made a big mistake, that he blew it, you know. And I'm glad that he did, because, you know, if he would have kept his mouth shut and didn't sabotage like he's done in the last few months, we never would have known he was fake MAGA and was in with the Bushes until 2028. And in 2028, he would have gotten the nomination. He probably would have been the second MAGA president. And then after that is when we would have found out he's not really with us. But he got too excited. He blew his cover. And we know what he's about early enough now that he's never going to be the president. In fact, Ron DeSantis is holding his last elected office right now as governor of Florida. And I'm really concerned, because this is going to be over for Ron DeSantis at some point, and he's still going to be my governor. And he's really abandoned us here in Florida. But when he drops out of the race and he's still our governor, say I got Florida on my shirt here because I'm in Florida. When he's our governor, he's going to be pissed off at the MAGA people of this state, because, you know, he's going to blame us for what happened to him. And I'm really concerned about what he's going to be like during the rest of his term. Now, this is, you know, Biden has authorized 3,000 reservists to send to Europe, right? So this is how Vietnam started. They send those first advisors off into the zone, and then, you know, and soldiers are trained to fight, and they're building up, and it's only a matter of time before we openly have troops in this fight. And I got to tell you guys this, and I don't think this is an unpopular position. If you have a son or daughter who is in the service and their enlistment is up, please get them to not re-enlist if you can. You know, they're building up into a war so that Biden's kid and his family that are just a bunch of degenerates can be set up financially for the rest of their lives. They're not sacrificing anything. If you've got a son or a daughter who's in high school or going to be a senior next year and they're thinking about enlisting, talk them out of it. You know, this is not the time to go and join the service. In fact, it's the last thing you want to do right now. If I had a kid who was thinking about joining the service, I would do anything and everything I could possibly do to keep them from joining the service. And I think that's very good advice. I really, really do. Now I want to play. So I played this on the stream this morning. Wayne Allen Root interviewed our great president Donald Trump. And, this is, the Secret Service has told us they couldn't determine the cocaine. Well, it turns out that there was a second fingerprint test done. They found a fingerprint on the cocaine. And if it's not Joe, it's going to be one person. I'm predicting. It was reported this afternoon that a fingerprint was found on the cocaine bag. They've not yet told us whose fingerprint it is. And my guess is that if it's not Joe Biden, it's one person removed from Joe. What do you guys think about that? One person removed. Hunter, Jill, and Aide. It's going to be one person removed from Joe if it's not him. If it's not his print on it. But this was absolutely amazing. So Wayne Allen Root was interviewing our great President Trump yesterday. And President Trump talked about the cocaine in the White House.
And we can't have a president that's on cocaine when you're dealing with nuclear weapons and everything.
Okay, so now this has been a theme. President Trump's been doing this since the story. A few days after the story broke, he's been posting on Truth Social constantly that it's Joe's cocaine, not Hunter's, Joe's cocaine. This is the first time I've heard him verbalize it, but he's had several posts on Truth Social saying that it's Joe's cocaine. And, what we know about President Trump is he's in the know. He's an insider now. He knows when he says that, he's just not making crap up. President Trump is saying this, and I think we could consider this a factual statement. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? Let me know in the chat. If you're not watching live, let me know in the comments, or you can call me right here live on the stream at 1-888-465-2631. I think that we can accept as fact what President Trump is saying here.
And we can't have a president that's on cocaine when you're dealing with nuclear weapons and everything.
Yeah, that's right.
We're dealing, and you've heard me say this, presidency, all these guys, these are at the top of their game. These are smart, whether you like them or their country or their policies, which are pretty tough policies. But these people are at the top of their game mentally. And we have a guy who, in his best years, wasn't at the top of the game.
Yeah. And, so far as Trump being right, when has Trump ever been wrong? Sometimes he'll say something and you'll think, wow, that can't be. And then what do you find out? You find out that he is right. Now, this is an amazing story that is in Breitbart. By the way, guys, if you're new to my channel, subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I have the most pro-Trump, pro-MAGA content you will find anywhere, okay? And I live stream every morning, weekdays, and now it's, the weekend has begun. I live stream on the weekends, too. I take live calls, and I also upload my podcast, the Brian Craig Show podcast, which is on all podcast platforms right here to my YouTube channel. But this war in Ukraine, I am strongly opposed to the war in Ukraine. Hold on, I got a text message from someone. Hold on, let me see who this is. This is, hold on a second here. Got to see what this is. Oh, hold on. No, it is. It's from Steve Kane. Hold on. I'm answering Steve. He's asking me a question, so if I don't answer him now, I will forget. And by the way, I got something coming up in a minute on Tucker that I have not touched on yet. So stand by for that, okay? Now, I want to share this because this war in Ukraine, I'm very much against. We had this war in Afghanistan went on for 20 years. And remember, when the war was over and we pulled out in that disaster in Afghanistan, remember this, and this is an important point for people to think about. We had men and women in combat that were born after 9/11 in Afghanistan. That's how long that war went on. America's longest war. And I don't think that Biden made a mistake leaving all the equipment behind. I think they left it behind on purpose, not just to give to the Taliban, but that's equipment that we had to rebuy. Think about that, right? So now I wanted to share this because this is very important. You know, you see all these people on television and in the corporate media telling us all the time why we got to be over there fighting against Russia. And there's a great story in Breitbart today. Look at this. Half of political foreign policy experts calling for more arms to Ukraine are tied to the arms industry, according to a new report. An open letter signed by 46 foreign policy experts calling for more arms shipments to Ukraine, published in Politico, failed to mention ties to nearly half of the signers to the defense industry, allegedly glossing over conflicts of interest. The Washington-based Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft claims. So when you're watching, I talk about this a lot, when you guys are watching all these experts, these retired lieutenant generals and others, you know, on television as pundits, these are people who are working for the military-industrial complex, and they use their credibility as a retired lieutenant colonel or a retired general or admiral. They use that to go on TV to sell you a war. We saw this with, the Iraq War and other things we've been involved in, and they've been doing it with Ukraine for a long time. Now, this is absolutely amazing, guys. I want to share this about the great Tucker Carlson, who just did an incredible job today with Pence and the rest. Tucker Carlson and his former college roommate are looking to raise hundreds of millions to launch a new media company. Listen, by the way, do you guys think that Fox News right now regrets dropping Tucker? I mean, look at what he's done. He took out two presidential candidates today, Pence and Tim Scott. He's more popular, more influential, more powerful, and more in the news than he ever was. And now he's starting. He's getting ready to start a media operation. Tucker Carlson. This is in the Insider. Tucker Carlson has moved on from Fox News and has his sights set on a media empire all his own. Tucker and Neil Patel, his former college roommate and fellow Daily Caller co-founder, I forgot about that, are looking to raise hundreds of millions of dollars for a new business venture, according to the Wall Street Journal. Now, this is an interesting thing because my recollection is that Tucker sold off his interest in the Daily Caller when he got that nighttime show on Fox. When contacted by Insider, a spokesman for Tucker declined to comment on the story, except to say that Carlson was in the sauna and unable to talk. As it stands, the pair plan to build off of Tucker's current presence on Twitter, where he posts short videos, although that one interview was 2.5 hours long, by creating a company with its own website, mobile app, and subscription service, according to the Journal. That's the Wall Street Journal. Down the line, the platform would potentially add more hosts, according to the Journal. The pair have financial backers, lawyers, and a strategy team lined up. Well, maybe, hey, put in a word for me, guys. Maybe Tucker will hire me. The new venture comes as Tucker attempts to recover after he was ousted from Fox. Fox News, they have got to have some major regrets over dropping Tucker Carlson. I mean, this was just a mistake, and I'm glad they did it. You know, I've been so sick of the cable news, you know, and I've said often that the cable news cycle is a poison. You know, the entire mainstream media is the deep state. It's the FBI, CIA, NSA, and they use the media to push wars on us. They've been using, you know, the government of the United States has been using the American media to push wars on us since the Spanish-American War. They pushed us into the Spanish-American War, and they're trying to push us into another one. They pushed us into Iraq. They sold us the Iraq War. They sold us the Patriot Act. And you know what? Even the war in Afghanistan, you mean to tell me that we couldn't get a guy, bin Laden, who got around on donkeys, that we had to have a full-scale invasion and a decade-and-a-half war in Afghanistan? Are you kidding me? Or 20-year war in Afghanistan? Decade-and-a-half in Iraq? Are you kidding me? No. They sold us something. They let bin Laden go. They didn't want to get bin Laden, because if they got bin Laden, it would have ended the war. And the military-industrial complex want money. And you know, when they got bin Laden, I think they knew where bin Laden was for years. But they went and got him because he needed a victory for the election. Hey, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's John Okeechobee.
Hey, John.
These
How you
people
doing?
have no idea who they have no idea messing with Tucker. That is one brilliant man.
Oh, yeah.
Family, by the way.
Absolutely.
His dad was so connected and so cool. He retired as a pastor to Marshall Islands or someplace like that. Great job. But the other thing, it's Joe. It's been a well-known joke, especially among Democrats, that when he'd ride the Amtrak back home, every time he got a chance, he'd sit in whatever Amtrak has for a club and drink his way home. He's very well could have wet brain alcohol syndrome.
Oh, you're talking about Joe Biden? You said Joe Biden could have wet brain alcohol syndrome? I imagine when he was in the Senate, he was drunk every day.
Oh, he was. He was a joke among the Democrats. He'd, like I say, drink his way on Amtrak.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, John, appreciate the call. All right. Take care. Take care. All right. Yeah, no, and guys, by the way, thanks, for all the support you've all given to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. The channel's growing, and we got a great community here. And this studio that I use at home, I've been doing a lot more streams from here. I took a break last week a little bit because my daughter was visiting, but make sure you click that notification bell so you know when I go live. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you got to speak up a little bit. You're on Bluetooth, but speak up just a little bit.
Yeah, hang on. I'll get you off.
Now I can hear you.
Okay. I would like to say something. I'd rather have 10 of your shows than any Tucker Carlson.
Oh, well, thank you.
Tucker Carlson, I mean that honestly, because Tucker Carlson admitted to being a left-wing idiot for a while. So it comes down to fairness. You have been nothing. I've listened to you since 2003 up in Chicago, and I moved down here in 2009, and I've listened to you almost every day.
Oh, great. Thank you.
And I believe that you spout more truth than Tucker does, and the hard truth, because I listen every morning and I hear, like today was like, oh my Lord, didn't they take their medications? I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good show, but it was like, left field than usual.
What are you talking about?
But
what was left field?
The way the show went this morning.
Oh, me this morning?
Richie was, or Richie and all them were like, I don't know, being weird as normal.
Richie the bus driver does, it's hard to explain to people, but Richie the bus driver has been listening to me since I first started out over 30 years ago. And Richie,
and before that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the air here in Florida since I was like 19, 20 years old. And Richie remembers back then with me, and Richie doesn't like that I've grown and had success. He just doesn't like it, and that's just the way it is. Richie's the one. He doesn't like me doing live streaming on YouTube or anything else, and whatever. But you're talking about some of the liberal callers that I took this morning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I listened to the whole thing. I mean, it was just horrid.
Well,
was
no,
horrid, compared to
I
normal.
Oh, really? You don't think I should talk to liberals?
Well, no, I appreciate that, people get on the phone and you have your discussions, but sometimes it's just like, wow, this is how I look at it. If you don't vote for Trump, you're a communist.
Yeah.
Or you're just ignorant. Because that's the only guy in the last 40 years that has gave anything for America. They're all about making money, like, Obama, Biden, they all make their hundreds of millions of dollars. And Trump, it can't be bought.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up with $7 billion. You can't buy him.
Well, that's the thing that's amazing about Trump. Trump, that they can't get to him because he and his family they're billionaires. They made their money through actual work and everything. We all know how they made their money. But how did Pence make his money to afford that mansion? Do we know? How did Biden make his money?
Pelosi,
exactly.
You name them. Get a dartboard and throw a name.
Well, remember Pelosi's husband, his investments, his stock investments, outperformed the leading Wall Street hedge funds because they got insider information. And they're all corrupt.
That's only one politician. Look at some others. Look at the other 300 or 210, on that side of Congress.
And you look at the other people that do what I do. These national people like Levin. Mark Levin. I remember when Rush.
No, he blows in the wind. That guy blows in the wind.
Well, I remember when he's very establishment. One of the callers. Yesterday called in and tipped me off about this suck-up interview that he did with DeSantis. I went back and listened to it. When Rush Limbaugh died, Mark Levin told a story that would bring a tear to your eye about how he needed heart surgery and he didn't have insurance or money, and Rush paid for the whole thing. That's amazing. He didn't have a lot of money then. Now, Mark Levin... And I'm not knocking somebody's financial success, but I think it's important. Mark Levin lives in one of the most expensive, exclusive areas of Florida. He just recently moved to Florida, and he lives in the area that Pelosi was considering moving to. He lives in the area where Don Jr. lives and Morning Joe. He's very rich now. He's in bed with the establishment, and the same thing goes with Buck Sexton and Clay Travis. These people are all in with the establishment. They've all been bought off to further a narrative. And these other candidates, is what I was showing with Tucker earlier, are all frauds. The only real candidate that's running that is running for good reasons is Donald Trump.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely true. There's no other way to put it than that.
Yeah.
And that's why I said if you're not voting for Trump, you're a communist or you're just an idiot. I mean, period.
That's true. Well, listen, I appreciate all your support and keep listening.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, take care.
Have a good show.
You too. Thanks so much. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Sal. I'm in New Hampshire.
Sal in New Hampshire. Speak up, Sal. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Hey, this is my first time watching your show, Brian. I think you have
welcome.
an awesome show.
Welcome.
All right. Hey, I think it's about time now that if this is Joe's Coke, we can start indicting him and get him the hell out of the White House, which we should have started a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think to get him to get sharpened up, we should have him swallow some razor blades.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. Appreciate the call. But I'll tell you this. This story that came out that they found hold on a second, caller. The story came out today that they found a fingerprint on the cocaine bag. That's one that we cannot let go. They want to cover this up, and we need to know whose fingerprint that is. And if they don't tell us, it's someone whose name we all know. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Sean from Massachusetts.
Hey, what's up?
Tucker Carlson is on a mission here, and what's great is we got this Turning Point USA America Fest coming up too, and it's amazing how he's just jumping to one to the next, and it's amazing how he's just slaying these establishment candidates. But Donald Trump, this is amazing because also you have Joe Manchin that might throw his hand in, which actually would be great for us because you also have on one side you have Robert Kennedy, you have Manchin, you got Tucker Carlson coming in here like a boss, like he is, and he's coming in and he's just like one after the other. He's dragon slaying, and this is absolutely amazing to see right in time, and everybody can see this now. And just the optics are looking pretty good, I think, overall.
Well, don't get excited about Manchin. I mean, I would guess. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. If he leaves the Democrat Party, I think he'll become an independent, not a Republican.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
I
what
thought
they
about
usually
that too. I mean, yeah. I mean, actually, you know what? I remember you said that before. You know, I was thinking, yeah, that did leap in the back of my head a little bit. But I mean, just the idea that Robert Kennedy's in there is actually doing good. I mean, despite all that, even if it didn't happen, our man is gonna slay, because I think, you know, when it's all said and done, I mean, the information is all coming to rise. You know, I think more and more, despite the censorship and everything going on, I think that the platforms that we all have available to us now, even with Threads coming out, and that what Zuckerberg is trying to do is counteract, you know, Twitter and all this stuff. That's all that was made for anyway, is just to try and counteract Elon Musk, because now Twitter's changed, you know, for the better. I mean, it's not perfect.
Well, I don't think they would have realized how powerful Twitter would become when Elon Musk took it over, they would not have let him buy it. And this Zuckerberg thing, you know, Zuckerberg's also deep state. I mean, come on. You think some kid in a dorm room created Facebook? There's more people on Facebook than there are Muslims in the world. Okay?
I don't think he created Facebook. Yeah.
No.
I think he's a hack.
Yeah, I think he's a deep stater. I think he's CIA. I think the entire internet was created by the government. But you know, what they're trying to do is get the discussion away from Twitter as much as possible as we're approaching the presidential election. But I've got Threads. I'm not going to use it. I just downloaded it. I mean, I do have it. You know, you can find me there, Brian Craig Show on there. But I'm not going to use it. I just downloaded it to look at it. You know, but I'm gonna stay on Twitter.
Well, you know what? It's the best way, you know, to go. I think that's the best way to go. You got to go with you know, Rumble's okay, but we got to go, like you say, we got to occupy spaces that we got to get the message out and everything.
Well,
you know,
okay.
and you got to find the best methods to do
Listen,
it.
This is the thing. The last guy was talking to me about, you know, doesn't like me talking to liberals. I get, you know, and I know I had some weirdos call me this morning, but you know, we need to reach people. And not just preach to the choir. We need to reach people that are not already with us. And I know a lot of people talk about Rumble, and there's a lot of pressure for MAGA to go to Rumble. Rumble is preaching to the choir. We need to talk to liberals. And I tell this to people a lot. Anytime I do a personal appearance, I meet at least one person will come up to me. It's usually more than one, but at least one person will come up to me and say, I used to be a liberal, or I used to be a Trump hater, but after I listened to you for 5 years or 15 years or 20 years, I'm a conservative now. I'm a Republican now. I hear that all the time. So, you know, it's important to not be like them on the left and talk to people that we disagree with. And so far as these liberal wackadoodles, I don't think any of them look good in the call. And I think it's very good for people to hear what these liberal nutcases think about everything, and it helps win people over to our side.
Well, it makes, you know what else too is it shows that you will be able to, you know, create a discussion with people on the other side, because you know the left isn't going to do that with us. And what you're doing, and you have, you know, your platform's growing and growing, and you know what, people are hearing this, even people on the other side, because it creates good optics, and it shows that, you know, the base, we're able to reach across, you know, and make this conversation and have a discourse, you know, and I think that's what we're missing in this country, and this is what makes America great, one of the great things, and I think that showing this, and your platform is unbelievable, and by doing this, you're using it just the right way, you know, and I was, you know, I just came across on my algorithm, just came up a video from about a year ago. I saw it came up on one of your videos. You were in the store, and you had a group of listeners with you, and Steve Kane was sitting down, and this guy, you know what I'm talking about, and I didn't see this. I missed this one, and I'm like,
we did. This was our first appearance after COVID, and we were at an indoor flea market. Here called the Festival Flea Market, and we had, I don't know, 200-300 people show up, and I was only there for about 12 minutes. The guy that came over, he had a gun in his pants. He was the manager of the mall, and he had an armed security guard. He called the cops on us and made us leave the mall. He got triggered by all the MAGA hat wearing people. It freaked him out. And he said, if he says you're trespass if you get out, you can get arrested for that. When you're in a private place and you're told to leave and you don't, you can be arrested. So Steve and I left, and I got out of there ahead of Steve. Steve walked out, and like 12 police cars pulled up. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. I can believe it, but I mean, it's supposed, in this day and age, it's like, you think, we go back a couple decades ago, not even that, this would be something that would easily be, doable. And you know what? And people would be much, it's just amazing how polarized everything has become, after everything. I think it was, we needed a figure like Trump to come in to let everybody see the light, to shine a light on everything. And that's why he's the only person that can do this, because he's like I said, I called before, the 40,000 foot view. I've always mentioned this, and I said he has this, and this is what we need, because we don't see this in anybody that's out there, especially the establishment hacks. And I think this is who else is going to do this? I mean, this is the man that has the know-how. He's got what it takes. He's a narrator. He can do it all. And I'm so sick and tired of them saying about DeSantis, well, he has the straight out no. Let me tell you something that you say all the time. If it wasn't for Trump, there wouldn't be a DeSantis. And you know what? This guy, Donald Trump, has the best of everything, and he has it better than everyone else. And you know what? There's only one man that's going to be able to do this. And let's hope that the next, the vice president he picks will be like not someone that can't be bought off, someone who's the next step to go in to do this, because this would be amazing to see, to carry the MAGA forward, because we know it can happen. And we just have to have the right, it's like you say, it's common sense. Everything's common sense. It's know-how, it's common sense. And you know what? That's what the essence of the Republican Party is.
Let me tell you what happens. What happens is there's been a lot of people in the past that are good people. They get in Congress, and then all of a sudden they open up the books to them and get them in their corrupt business, and they buy them off, and they become corruptible. And Donald Trump, it's the untouchables. Like, remember, he brought in Mnuchin to be the Treasury Secretary, another billionaire. These people have so much money they can't be bought. And
the criminal syndicate. Yeah.
I mean, we're being run now by gangsters.
You know what? And it's the analogy of this in a bigger scale. And X22 talked about this before too. He made an analogy. He said, think of the criminal syndicate, the worldwide criminal syndicate. And if you look at it in the simpler terms of the DAs, and we talk about the judges and the corruption that we see, George Soros bought off these kind of people. And think of it like in a small term, as a small town that's run by a mafia. Obviously, they're not going to rat each other out. They're not going to incriminate each other. They're going to get it. Not going to do anything. And we're seeing this obviously on a much bigger scale. This is much bigger than the mafia. And we're seeing it on a wide scale. And if people can't see that, well, a lot of people are waking up, which is a great thing.
That's right.
But some people will never wrench. But Donald Trump doesn't need exactly 100% of the people. He needs the people behind him. I mean, as long as 80% of the people, I mean, that's even good enough right there. And I think that once he gets the people, he'll have like the Andrew Jackson effect. And there's no coincidence that Andrew Jackson's right above him when he was there, and he references him, because the same thing happened back in his election. We have the people. And I think the military is with him. The real military is with him. I'm not talking about, the fake guys, the TV military guys.
Well, I don't know about that, but when General Milley was on the same high school football team with who's that, Rachel Levine that works at the White House, that used to be a man. Yeah. So I mean, what are the odds of that? What are the odds? Hey, listen, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. President Trump, by the way, is he's having a private screening for the Sound of Freedom, and the suppression of the Sound of Freedom that's going on. They don't even talk about it in the news, is because human trafficking, sex trafficking, that's what's going on at our southern border. And if the media give proper attention to they're talking about Oppenheimer all day. Oppenheimer must really, this movie that they're praising so much, must think that we did a bad thing for dropping the bombs on Japan or something, because the left are hyping that movie up too much. But the reason they don't want to give the Sound of Freedom the attention it deserves is because people will start looking at the southern border and say, well, wait a minute, that's what's going on there. Why don't we stop that? Now, guys, if you'd like to support my content, and I would hope that you would like to, go to mypillow.com and buy something. There's so many great deals going on right here. It's the 20th anniversary sale at mypillow.com right now. And with my promo code Kane at checkout, you can take advantage of all the specials. This is the 3-inch mattress topper 2.0 with cooling technology that I'm often talking about. And it's 40% off and free shipping with my promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout at mypillow.com. And they kind of show you here in the animation how it works. It keeps your body the perfect temperature all night long. So you're like Goldilocks. And these are just great new inventions. The 100% Giza cotton dream sheets are 50% off. Kathy and I have several sets of these. These are amazing. You know, Mike Lindell talks about Giza cotton. Giza cotton is the finest cotton in the world. And Mike Lindell says that there are other people that advertise Giza sheets, Giza cotton sheets, but they only have like 10% Giza cotton in them. His have 100% Giza cotton. And they perfectly regulate your body temperature. Winter, summer, you're the perfect temperature all night. But what I tell people a lot about the Giza Dream Sheets that just blew my mind, that bottom fitted sheet, you know, guys, the one with the elastic, on other sheets, when you make your bed, you can never get the fitted sheet over all four corners. You get it over one corner perfectly, a second corner maybe 3/4 of the way. The third corner of the mattress, you get it over maybe halfway if you're lucky. And that fourth corner with the fitted sheet, you get it just over just a little bit like this so it stays on and you're pulling. It's crazy. With Mike Lindell's 100% Giza cotton dream sheets, you get all four corners of the fitted sheet on perfectly and effortlessly, and you don't have to pull or anything. Sometimes I've ripped fitted sheets before because you got to pull so hard to get them over that fourth corner enough to keep it on. With Mike Lindell's 100% Giza cotton dream sheets, just 2 fingers and a thumb, boom, 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 all four corners, perfect. We have several sheets of these, and like everything else Mike Lindell makes, very high quality. Every set looks like the day we got it, even though they've been washed I don't know how many times because we've had them for years. And they're 50% off as low as $29.98. They come in all mattress sizes. And that, of course, is with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. And everyone, click the notification bell so when I go live, you get a notification. And I will be here over the weekend. There's a lot of news happening. And I'll be covering it all over the weekend. And I will be doing live streams Saturday and Sunday right here on my channel. So if you click the notification button, you'll get a notification when I'm going to go live. And I always take live calls unscreened right here on my live stream. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk.